welcome to Lifestyles of a Strange and Exotic Random Movie Review. And I purposely went to Walmart to get this the first day it came out because I wanted to see it in the theater. I never get a chance to see it in the theater, which really, really sucks. But I picked up Wonder Woman. Okay. I have not seen Batman with Ben Affleck. I just can't picture him as Batman. But what I've seen of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I was impressed so far. So I'm like, I collected Wonder Woman back eons ago when they had the second contest. Hippolyta, I guess she saw Diana die, but I'm missing a couple of issues where that kind of happens. So she issued another contest to have a new Wonder Woman, which is how Artemis came into be, but I'll get to that later. So I collected Wonder Woman, and I got this. I wish there was a date to this, probably like 10 years ago, so there's no way to attach it, but this is from many, many years ago. Back when they had like half off the 50% off the good stuff. But and I did resist getting the one that had the wearable tiara, but they didn't have any of like the middle of the road ones. They had just the DVD, the one with the tiara, and then I think there was one that was even more expensive than that, but I just wanted the Blu-ray digital DVD. But they didn't have anywhere in the electronics, so I purposely went to the other side of the store and found what I wanted, and then put the one with the tiara back. So I did resist. So I haven't seen the bonus content yet. I just finished watching the movie. So the one thing that was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to really invest myself in the movie because Chris Pine is in it, and he is Captain Kirk to me. He's modern era Captain Kirk. Which isn't a bad. The only reason I kind of liked the first Star Trek, I even bothered with what the hell was the second one with, like, the one with Cumberbatch there. I haven't even bothered to watch the rest of the Star Treks because I'm like, no, I'm old school. But I like Chris Pine. I like him. There's this sort of adorable, cocky, cute charm about him. I just like him. So I'm like, but I like his scene in the beginning. It's like, Captain Kirk. So, they did, of course, have the Justice League trailer. Where the hell is Green Lantern? The other comics I used to collect? You can't have the Justice League without Green Lantern. Maybe they haven't decided, do we go with Hal Jordan? Do we go with John Stewart? I don't know. But, Aquaman kind of won me over. I love the Aquaman Injustice series. The Injustice series. He just seems Aquaman to me. This guy, I don't know. So he's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're quite where they need to be to make Justice League work. I think they're just rushing it out because of Marvel. But yes, where the hell's the Green Lantern? I'm not a kid person, but I really loved little girl Diana. There was just something, in some ways, badass about her. It makes sense that this kid would become Wonder Woman. She was just so, I don't know, there was something adorable about her. And I don't even like kids. I'm like, I will keep her. It was just, she's sitting there watching the other Amazons, train, do their thing. And she's on like this balcony going, hi-ya, hi-ya. I'm like, I like you, kid. We might have gotten along as children. I'm kind of pissed that they didn't expand on the story of Themyscira, Themyscira, Themis something or other. Take your pick. They kind of just sort of glance over it. In some ways, I don't know how much was shown in Batman from different reviews I've heard about. It's like, oh, there's Wonder Woman. Oh, there's Wonder Woman. Oh, does somebody get to stay? So I don't quite know. But when you're focusing on Wonder Woman, I would have liked to have seen the contest, the whole. But then they did go into a different road where they didn't need the contest. The whole reason they had the contest. Very important. In the comics, at least in the original stories there, where Hippolyta had the first contest to choose an Amazon, and it was random, and she didn't want Diana in the contest, because when Steve Trevor crashed on Paradise Island, she wanted one of the Amazons to go with him. And of course, Diana sort of put herself in disguise, and of course, Wonder Woman Diana, she trounced everyone, and then of course, well, I won, well, you gotta go. So it was, in Wonder Woman lore, it's very important. But you get to see different Amazons, you get to see Paradise Island, but the way they kind of tell you the history is, if anybody's seen the Injustice games, the end titles, and I think it's only in the like classics ladders, it's in solo play. One of the, I think like the first ranked matches you can do, you get like end titles of like what happens to the characters in that animation style is kind of how they did it in the movie. So it has a very video game feel, which was kind of weird. It was cool because it reminded me of Injustice, which was a really cool game, but it was kind of weird in the movie. Now, I know it's kind of a thing in the... I'm not quite sure how it was in the original comics. And of course with comic books, it sort of ebbs and flows because different artists, different writers come in. So I'm kind of working on like the 1990s version, but I'm aware of like the original classic version. But I don't know at any point this hasn't happened before. Like Steve Trevor was the first guy to land on Paradise Island. I mean, it literally in the movie. I'm like, how you're in the middle of course, at first I thought it was in World War II because that's how original Wonder Woman was placed in World War II. So it was a much bigger war where you had more, ships in the ocean and stuff like that. It's like somebody's going to stumble across your flippin' island. World War I might believe a little bit more, but it's like, really, at some point, in the movie, all it is a giant fog in this like force field you literally can put your hand through, and there's actually a scene of this guy going, force field? No force field. Paradise Island? Big giant ocean. So it was like, somebody gonna come across your island eventually. And it's some, I don't know, but it was kind of stupid. I think maybe at some point it might have been like a parallel dimension, but it was like, it wasn't like just there to stumble upon. But I don't know, to me it was silly. Just the way they handled it was really silly. The fight sequences, awesome as though they are, the first fight sequence on the beach was badass, was totally cool. Really need to keep your hands off the slow-mo button. And it's like, they only slow-mo this one particular like kick shot, where it's like a butterfly kick. We get it, it's cool, we do not have to see this as slow-mo. It was overused and in silly ways, but when, the good parts that they used it on, I mean, when they used it right, it was done well, but they just didn't need to do it as much as they did for what they did. It's like, what? Let's see. At first, I thought the trainer, whose name I can't even pronounce, was going to be Artemis. Now, I have a special love for Artemis. She came in, now I don't know if she was ever mentioned previously, but as I said, the second contest Apollo put on, Artemis won. And she was of like a different tribe of like rebel Amazons. And she was just so freaking awesome. It's amazing, one of the reasons I picked up Wonder Woman to start the collection. So I'm like, okay, this is gonna be Artemis. And then you see like, then they started telling her, you're just calling her by this strange name. It's like, well, I guess you're not Artemis. I wanted to see Artemis. Wait till the end of the damn movie. Looking through the credits, just maybe I could see Artemis. She was in the movie. Had no idea who the hell she was, but she went in the movie. I'm like, it's. I don't know if it was just sort of one of the women, because Artemis is an archer with like super long blonde hair. I mean, a gigantic ponytail, which just makes her awesome. there was one kind of scene of this woman doing something cool. Was she the one that got... I don't know. But I wanted an actual scene of Diana and Artemis doing something. Even if they were just arguing because they didn't like each other. Well, Artemis didn't really like anybody, but they wanted more of Artemis. But she was supposedly in there. So... when Steve finally does come to Paradise Island, again, Chris Pine is just hysterically funny. And when they had the scene of him wrapped in the lasso, it was just funny. It was done. The humor was done well in this scene. It wasn't like slapstick funny, but it was just that sort of charm that only Chris Pine can bring. It was very silly. Oh my god, I actually laughed out loud. Some of the visuals are kind of cheesy. Like, it wasn't as... In some ways, I think the Batman Arkham series in the video game has better visuals, better graphics, better computer graphics than the movie did. It felt a little too green screeny. Like, it wasn't quite polished, or it wasn't quite finished enough before they put it out. I don't know if that's just the style they used, but there was just something not quite right. But I don't know, I kind of think maybe it's the style because it's set in World War I and it's kind of got that sepia type of thing. But it just, I don't know, it just felt too video game-like, and not in a good way. I mean, it was cool in a lot of ways, it was visually pleasing to look at, but it was just a little off. And I swear I have seen... I have seen that sword before. Oh my god. The God Killer. The sword. I'm thinking, I've seen this sword before. Why? And I thought, and I made it in my notes, why do the Greeks / Romans... They're based on Greek. Is Ares Greek or Roman? I forgot. But, why do these Themyscirans have a Viking sword? And I'm thinking, I'm picturing it in my head. I've seen the sword before. Rohan. It's the frickin' sword that Eowyn's wielding when she meets Aragorn. It's kind of like this heart thing, but I forgot what the... It's shaped like that, where the blade comes out and it's like this, but like an, Rohan, they're horse heads, but it's the same damn design. Oh my god. Well, apparently Wonder Woman's a shield made of Rohan. I'm like, oh my god, no wonder. Well, that was strange. Probably made by Weta, too. I was expecting... In some ways, there isn't really a villain to the story. If there's a villain, I would say it's war in general. It's a very sort of anti-war film. But there's like 3 people. You've got Ares, you got the... Not quite Kaiser, it's like the main bad German dude. And then you have the Doctor. Meh. They didn't really have any impact on the story, really. They were kind of... I suppose you need a bad guy. But what the hell was the story with the Phantom Lady? I mean, that's all I could think of. It's like, it's a female Phantom, because she had that sort of mask, and you had the reveal at the end. I'm like, give her a backstory. Who the hell is this woman? This is just this woman. None of the bad guys were threatening to me. I'm like, just let Diana do her thing. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about the movie, where they didn't waste time on the villains. They actually spent more time with the heroes, just letting Diana do her thing, and you got to see them as people, and it was just fun. So it wasn't a bad thing, but it was like, whoopee. You know? And I totally forgot about Etta, who is like from like the original, like 1940s version of Wonder Woman, and she's like a friend to Steve Trevor. I think she might even be in the Wonder Woman TV series. So she was really cool. It was just fun to just see her in a few scenes. It was just Etta Candy. So it was fun. A nice throwback to the classic era. And I'm glad they added a scene where Diana and the sort of posse they've assembled are going across the bridge, and you see the wounded coming towards them. And it was done very, very well. It wasn't like smacking you upside the head going, war bad. It was a nice subtle way of saying, yeah, there's a price to pay, there's a cost. And there's even like a hint of the Scotsman having like PTSD. So it's done subtly, but done in enough way where you can kind of get it, especially being in World War One. It's just the way they handled it was very beautiful. I really, it was very elegantly done. Yeah. There's sort of a sense of realism you wouldn't really expect from a movie like this. And it didn't get lost in the sort of supernaturalness that is Wonder Woman. Here you have a, super being, a meta-human, amongst these, like, mortals, but it didn't lessen the mortal aspect, if that makes sense. Diana's fight scene, that sort of first, Diana fighting solo, was so freaking badass, but again, it was always the same. That one damn butterfly kick, they had to slow-mo. I'm like, you don't need... And they did it, like, multiple times in a row. I was like, we got it. The move is cool. You've done it once already. You don't need to keep going. But it was just so badass. So, just... I loved it. And it felt more like a battle and not like a dance. Though that's some of the things that was kind of weird, like on the beach scene. You could tell in some ways it was wire work. Of course, on the beach scene, they were actually down by, rope and stuff. But it was, I don't know, it was badass. It was cool. And knowing that Gal Gadot was like part of the Israeli army. And I think they do it in Sweden too, in the Netherlands, where you're obligated to spend time in the army for a couple of years. Everybody has to do so. So it was very, very interesting that. And they got the lasso right. At least as far as like the look of the lasso. So it was really cool when you saw that on screen. And there is a good balance of humor, based a lot on sort of Chris Pine's charm and just sort of, it's like a natural humor. It doesn't feel forced. It's just sort of those moments in life where you'd like do something silly, or it's just a random joke somebody might make. It's very, very well done. It's a nice way to kind of lighten up a lot of this stuff without being insert joke here. So I laughed aloud at some of the things, and I appreciated the humor. It was very similar to my own sense of humor. And when Wonder Woman finally meets Ares, she kind of loses her sword, goes to reach it, cuts. I'm like, okay, makes sense. And then suddenly she has a sword. Okay, so Ares, like, no, go ahead, I'll finish the conversation, you go get it. That made no sense to me whatsoever. I'm like, that's kind of weird. But seriously, Ares. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for you, for the two of you that might not have seen it, but I cannot take Ares seriously. When you know, when the secret's revealed, I'm thinking like, no way. If they'd done it where he kind of took over this individual as sort of maybe a vessel, and then became actual Ares, I would have bought that. But you have the actor in the suit. You can see his face in the helm, and it's like, what? Oh, it totally killed, Ares as the god of war when you realize who's in the suit. It's like, it's like some scrawny little guy like my dad throwing thunderbolts. It's just, it was too silly. It amused me, so it didn't kill the movie for me, but it's like, really? No. And they didn't, like, play with his voice either, so you had this, like, silly really was he was. Apparently they don't know what the God of War is, Anna. Get the guy that did the voice in the game, come on. But, so... overall, I enjoyed it. I wasn't disappointed. Apparently there's 2 hours of bonus content. It was a fun movie. Having collected Wonder Woman, it gave me what I kind of expected-ish. And I liked it when Wonder Woman was set in the war era. Like with the TV show, once they got to like 1970, which I know was cheaper, but it's like, you dated it now. At least when it's like a period piece, it kind of becomes timeless. And it just bookended nicely. It starts off in modern, ends in modern, in the middle is kind of, you know, World War I stuff. But it was, and then what happened to Steve, and it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. As a Wonder Woman collector, as a Wonder Woman fan, I was not disappointed. It goes, before she was Wonder Woman, she was Diana, Princess of the Amazons, raised on a sheltered island paradise and trained to be an unconquerable warrior. When an American pilot crashes on the shores and tells of massive conflict raging in the outside world, Diana leaves her home convinced that she can stop the threat. Fighting alongside man in a war to end all wars, Diana will discover her full powers and her true destiny. So... it's a good movie. Definitely worth a watch. Again, the comic books have spanned so many decades. You know, you're not going to get like every little piece of, you know, like, you know, Artemis in the second contest, and it's just, I don't know. There's too much to put in one movie. I do hope they do a sequel. Don't have much faith in the Justice League one. Just saying. So... very happy. But I don't think this would stop bullets, though. So, thank you for watching. Do remember to comment, rate, share, and subscribe. There's always room for one more at The Strange and Exotic. See you next time. Bye.